There's like a name when you like go from into another like 10. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
I mean,
Sure. That's fucking embarrassing. All right. Anyway, welcome back to Dying to Talk, episode 20. We are now in the 20s. There we go. I tried to be smart and creative, and it totally fucking backfired. As if every previous 19 episodes wasn't an example of me trying to be smart and creative and having it totally backfire. Today we have a special guest. We have Greg Linksman in the house. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah. I like that shirt. You're looking snazzy. Probably one of the best dressed guests we've had so far.
Gotta show up.
Gotta show up. Amen. How's your week going?
Yeah, week's been good. Been busy.
Busy
Running
doing
around.
what?
I've been, playing some music and stuff in town. Good. Setting up at some of the local spots in Beacon, and
Alright.
just moved into a new place, so
Hell
I've been
yeah.
setting that up. It's
Hell
kind
yeah.
of good, like fresh starts. It's strange to like pack up all your stuff, review everything you got, and then go through it again, unbox it
Yeah.
and be like, okay, where do I want this? Like, pair of shoes I haven't worn in 2 years
It's like, should I keep
to
them?
sit
You
for
never know.
6 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel that. I just recently realized how much shit human beings own. Like, we own way too much stuff.
Yeah.
And anytime you're moving or anytime you're just reorganizing stuff, it's like you look at a pile of stuff and go, I don't need any of this. I'm getting rid of it. Then you start digging through and go, well, I kind of might need this blazer in case we ever go do that thing we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
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 Has there been a lot of things you had to let go or?
Well, kind of moving in stages, so still, going through, my boxes and stuff in a little bit,
All
and
the guitars, all the
so
picks, all the
it's
cables.
yeah, it's really more about the stuff I'm finding, and like, I now that I got a place, like
Yeah.
I've been in apartments for the last 15 years, so I haven't had like a second room
Yeah.
where I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we have like a basement and
Yeah.
living room and
You've
stuff,
made
it's
it
like
now, man.
you got like places to put stuff,
We have places to put
so
Christmas
it's like,
decorations.
that's right. So I can, set up the basement with my gear, can, do
What?
all
It's
that.
true. That's
Yeah.
so you're gonna do a little studio down in the
Yeah,
basement?
you're gonna
Fuck
try
yeah,
to,
dude.
have some of that set up.
Hell
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's so funny the term of like living in your mother's basement, but then when you own your own basement and they're just living out of your basement, nobody like bats an eye.
yeah.
But having a studio down the basement, I've lived in an apartment my whole life, so I've never had the luxury of a basement. But I always get jealous. I get annoyed when I go to people's basements and it's cluttered. I'm like, this could be so cool.
Yeah.
You're wasting space.
Yeah.
This fucking guy's basement. No, even
Yeah.
like Kara's basement, my girlfriend's basement, super cool. But then it got hit with a flood, chemtrails, making
Yep.
all that fucking rain. It's just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
Rip the basement.
Yeah, that's the other part of like having a place like just more stuff to fall apart, more stuff to walk into and to break,
Yeah. You have the
Went to
contractors walk
close a
in.
door yesterday, the door handle fell off, but now know I know how to fix a door handle.
Hell yeah.
So it's
You're
like
gonna learn a
take the
lot.
good with the bad on that one.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna learn a lot now that you're a house dweller. You're gonna learn. You're
That's
gonna learn
right.
some shit about what to do, what not to do. And just don't hire a contractor that's just gonna be like, who did that? Who did? Yeah,
Right.
it'll work. I would have done it differently, but it'll work.
That's right.
Hell yeah, bro! Congratulations on that.
Appreciate
My
it.
week, even though you didn't ask, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
how
how
it
is your
went.
week going?
My week was pretty well. At the time of recording this, it's Tuesday. Yesterday, I was in the city seeing Green Day in concert.
Oh,
That
sick.
was fucking amazing.
That was rancid.
Rancid never disappoints. I was a little concerned. I'm not gonna lie. Tim Armstrong looked like he was about to pass out.
Yeah.
Like he was at one point. He was just like the camera was on him. I was very close, but the screens were like right in my face, and he was just like singing along. And then he like grabbed his chest, and I was like, no. But he was like just really getting into it. He just looked exhausted.
Yeah,
He
but
looked really tired.
Tim, he's the man, Rancid.
Fucking love Rancid,
I've
bro.
probably seen them the most out of any
I've seen them
band.
3 times.
I could be on my, in double digits
Yeah.
with them.
Wow.
Times I've
Because
seen
I know
them.
Joe is a big Rancid fan because he always like he replied to my story and was like talking my ear off about Rancid, and then I sent him a little clip.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've opened. I saw them when they opened for the Misfits in 2019. They've opened up for Green Day before when I just don't remember what year it was, and then this
Right.
third time, and then Smashing Pumpkins.
Yep.
which bald people are real, by the way. I saw one with my own eyes. And then, of course, and then this band that opened up before Rancid called the Linda Lindas.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of them, but I'm like, I feel old listening to their music because they're like teenagers and they're talking about like teenage angst. I'm like, shit, if I gotten old, I don't relate to this shit at all, but they were solid.
Yeah. As opposed to Green Day.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
You know?
Me in 2004 not understanding any of that. Like American Idiot came out and I was like, yo, I'm literally Jesus of Suburbia. Like, fuck this town. 5 years old. It was a great time. Me and my cousin went. And the day before that, we were filming a short film in Stony Point with our boy Austin, who was a previous guest. And we were in this disgusting motel. Disgusting. Wood paneling, shag carpet. Like, just so gross. But it was, I don't know what I did Saturday. I don't think I did anything. Oh, I bailed on Michael and Spencer going upstate to go like jerk off in a swimming hole or some shit.
As you do.
I had mad shit to do. I did. I know you guys were probably annoyed. I had so much stuff to get done, but my week's good and I have a lot of stuff coming up later in the week, and I want time to skate and not do anything. But I guess that's part of being an adult. It's funny. I complain when I'm not busy, and I'm complaining when I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially with the way it's been outside and stuff, I feel like anytime I've got the motivation to like, I'm going to go on a long walk or I'm going to do this. Like, I like to like just put on some music and get lost for a while. It helps like creative process or to get out of a rut. But it's like I step outside, walk for 3 minutes, and it's like rain starts coming down, getting harder.
And especially this time of year too, because we got 1 month left of the summer.
Right.
And it always seems like it hits you. It's like, we didn't do enough. We got to do summer things. We got to go to the beach.
Right. Quick, someone grab a towel. We're sitting outside.
Yeah. We got to make s'mores tonight.
Bread, cheese, marshmallows, sticks. Let's go.
Weenies. I never roasted weenies. I don't trust that. People who do that are really fucking strange. But
give it to me on a roller from a 7-Eleven or nothing.
Yeah, I paid. Dude, one thing I love
needed to be sitting there for about 3 years before I trust it.
Next to the weird taquitos that nobody eats.
Right.
I spent $31. Yo. $31 on 2 hot dogs and 2 bottles of water at Citi Field yesterday. And these fuckheads at Citi Field had the audacity to spin the iPad around and go, it's just going to ask you one more question. A tip?
Yeah.
I just gave you my fucking car payment for the month, buddy. Like,
right.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I always make the joke, like, anytime I go to, like, a sporting event or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to pay $9 for a Dasani.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's right.
That's American sports
Yeah, it's insane. Especially, like, when you get those computers and for some reason now it's like 20 to 30% on tips. And it's like, I know you have that markup on that hot dog to begin with. You don't need 30% on that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I know most of the stadium workers that tip's not going to them.
Yeah.
It's not. I literally asked the dude, I was like, this go to you? He goes, I'm like, no, I'm not fucking tipping.
Right.
Get the hell out of here. Most like places do that. They say it's going. I worked in food service, and a lot of the card tips did not go back to us. They went right back to the owner. Anyway, we could talk about how fucked up people are all the time. But for those of you who don't know who Greg is, I'm going to give him the chance to introduce himself. Greg is a rock star, in my opinion, a guitarist extraordinaire. You're probably one of the best guitarists I've ever seen. No, I'm not even fucking saying that. And the Acid House, both albums, always on my radio. But let's just start with a very simple question. Why'd you laugh saying he's a rock star? He is. He is to me, goddammit. I know. I always do that.
Oh, man, I always do that. I love it.
I'm sorry. I'm excited. Fuck. You're right. No, you're right. No. Laugh at me. Next time I do that, throw one of those pictures at my fucking big ass forehead. Greg, where are you from? And who the fuck are you?
Right on. Well, grew up in Westchester and North Salem. I've just kind of been always loved music and creating and, trying to, find something new and, just been playing music, working, doing stuff for a long time. Obviously been a big supporter of Dying, the Dying guys for a long time.
The Dead.
Dead
man.
That's right.
Hell yeah. So when did you begin? When did you pick up your first guitar?
Well, we always had guitars around the house. We had my dad's guitars like sitting there.
Oh, so your
Um,
dad played.
not that much. He had the guitars, like he had the guitar he bought when he was like 15,
Uh-huh.
14, sitting there. And but every once in a while he'd play a little bit. But really got into music when we originally lived in Long Island and then
Okay.
moved to Westchester. And then for that summer, we drove out to Vegas to stay with my grandpa for the summer.
Interesting.
So it was like a 4-day drive there and
Mm.
and hung out there. But that whole car ride was, radio on, listening to
Yeah.
music, albums, and everyone else was passed out, just kind of, absorbing that.
What kind of
So,
music? What year was it? Time frame wise?
well, year must have been 95,
Ooh, that's a good year for
something like
music.
95,
Yeah.
so, definitely good music out. My dad's albums in the car, so Bob Dylan and the band
Mm-hmm.
and, all of that. And, really just, just something about roaming around, discovering something new,
Mm-hmm.
having that soundtrack to it, and like, definitely got me into it. But I got my first guitar that was mine. Um, like my first electric guitar,
Yeah.
I must have been 12 for that because we were coming home from I had bar mitzvah lessons,
What
so we were
like? Oh,
you
to
know,
get ready for like the
to
thing.
learn about it, and we ended up my mom and I were driving home. It was pouring rain outside.
Mm.
Went to the lesson was on a cassette, so I was trying to like put it in, play it. Long story short, got distracted. The car did a 360
Oh my
spin and
god.
then flipped over, and we landed on the roof of the car. Like
Jeez.
if we weren't wearing seatbelts, we would have been shattered and out of
Oh
it.
my god.
But we ended up before we had a cell phone in the car, so another car kind of stopped and like
Yeah.
flagged it down. And long story short, after that there was a little money from the insurance or whatever for being a
Yeah.
passenger, and took that money, bought a
Hell
guitar, and it
yeah.
was like way to be.
What kind of guitar was it?
It was a Schecter. It
Mm.
was kind of you know
Everybody starts on either a Schecter or Epiphone.
yeah.
Those are the. If you started on anything better than that, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, so I sat on it and then, gave it to Miles to play for a little bit.
Uh,
When he was first getting into it, but he kind of upgraded to much cooler
yeah.
shit right
He
away,
always does, little bastard.
But
Do
that's
you
my
have his original guitar?
yeah,
I don't know. I think it doesn't work.
the pickup switch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds good though, and the action's really good.
Yeah, that was always a very easy thing to play. But yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
the
look at
insurance
that.
guitar.
So I have a question. Did you ever finish your what was it, bar mitzvah? Did
bar
you
mitzvah, yeah.
did you ever finish the training video?
Yeah, I finished it.
Did the insurance send you a new cassette tape?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
he was able to figure that out. I was never been great with languages or
Yeah.
stuff. I have I guess a unique way of learning, but for the whole thing, you're supposed to learn a passage and read it and
Mm.
whatever, and cool. But we made up words that sounded like the words,
Okay.
and so I just kind of made it a song and sang it.
Oh,
Like
nice.
I closing my eyes, laughing, looking around, like
Yeah.
definitely not reading. But I
Gotcha.
was able to get it done, and yeah,
Bro was freestyling at his
that's
bar
right.
mitzvah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's really
Nobody in
funny.
the audience knew
No, yeah,
what it was
they're
saying
too
anyway.
busy being excited that you're 13 now
That's
and
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
And then
not Jewish, so I
singing
don't
that.
know what happens there,
Yeah,
but
you throw a party.
that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know.
I've never been to a bar mitzvah. I guess I wasn't cool enough. I didn't know the only like I guess Miles is the only Jewish person I'm front. Not that I'm like anti-Semitic or anything, but yeah, I didn't know him like that back then, so
No.
or at all.
Yeah.
But so like similar to you, my father had a guitar that was his dad's. Jesus Christ. But my dad didn't really know how to play. He knew like one chord, and then my stupid ass was like just playing nonsense. So like when you got your first guitar, were you already like taking lessons? Were you self-taught?
I did take lessons. I had a you know my first guitar teacher was Bill.
Mhm.
I got him through Charlie, who started, from the
yeah.
Acid House. Charlie started taking lessons first, and he said, "You gotta check
So
out
you
this
knew
guy
Charlie
Bill."
like way back.
Yeah, I met him in first grade.
Really?
Yeah, when I moved to Westchester.
Wow. Okay, I
He
didn't
was
know
like
that.
first friend.
Wow. And thus the Acid House story began.
That's right.
Okay.
So
Bill, the guitar teacher.
yeah, so we had, the same guitar teacher for a while, and he's very good with teaching us songs and like song structure and how, like, not necessarily theory, but how chords can go together. And then as I got older, I got a guitar teacher, Derek, who really like taught me how to, play riffs and melodies, and like he would just say, pick any song you like, pick Rancid, whatever you want, whatever you're listening to. He'd listen to it once, figure out by ear how to play it, and then teach me how to do that.
How to listen to it.
How to listen and then
Gotcha.
find, like, okay, you can tell that that's an E chord. So from there, there's only so many things that sound good, or
that
sound
would
correct.
make sense to transition to. Gotcha.
So, and so that, definitely the guitar teachers and helped a lot, but I was always trying to be in a band, so Charlie and I started early playing music, and I was in bands since middle school.
Gotcha. What was the first? Do you remember any of the names you first? Because our last
Unfortunately,
guest before Billy, James wouldn't tell us the bands he was in middle school. He wouldn't say the names of it. So
yeah, well, so the first band was me, my friend Connor, my friend Trevor, and eventually Joe, my brother, and
Joe Linksman was in a band.
Joe is the bass player eventually, but we were called Evil Hair.
All right.
Which classic, good, like, obviously it means something, name. But whatever. But but
who came up with the name?
That would be me.
That was you. All
That
right.
would definitely
Hell
be
yeah,
me.
Greg.
I think it had something to do with attacking people.
We're evil and
That's right.
we have hair.
Exactly. But so that was for really from like 6th grade to like 10th grade when I started playing with Charlie more, 10th, 11th grade. But yeah, so we did that for a while. We had a local place in Danbury called Empress Ballroom.
I've
that
heard of
So like they would have bands that would be on tour coming around and playing, and we had the right to like sell tickets to play, kind of very pay to play, but so we would go to the mall.
Was that how you broke in back? I mean, because there was no social media back then, so there really only was one way to break in.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like an excuse to make sure the place was filled up.
Yeah.
Because it's, you don't really want a bunch of 8th graders hanging around in your place, unless they're gonna bring 30 people, and so, but from there we got to play with like when like Fall Out Boy was starting out, and a bunch of bands like that, like they would come and we would sell the tickets to play. Cool. And I never liked them, but
I've seen them live. They're not my cup of tea.
Joe was always big into them, so we
shocker,
we'd listen to that, and so, but we play with a bunch of bands that were like kind of at that level and stuff, but
mainly punk.
Yeah, a lot of
because I know you mentioned Rancid, so we got to talk punk music.
Yeah,
like that.
Punk was I would think the first thing that I really like at a certain age discovered for myself. Like Let's Go was the first CD I bought for myself, the Rancid album. And between them and like Against Me were huge, and obviously Misfits and all the classics and stuff.
Yeah,
but
Misfits are in my top 3.
Yeah.
You have a all-time punk top 3?
It kind of switches. I gotta put Rancid up there just because I think they're
his voice, their voice is so iconic.
Yeah,
it sticks out. Like now, if I'm out at a bar at like a store, I could pick up like, oh, that's Rancid.
Totally,
just because of that voice.
And Tim is everywhere, but he's also like, such a quality songwriter.
Yeah.
And I mean, he would ended up writing songs for like Pink and other people too, and
Which is fucking
which is
crazy.
crazy, but like I just like that uniqueness to them.
Mm.
So I'd say they'd be up there. Against Me was definitely a big band, for me at the time. Misfits, just as far as how melodic they are, and
Now,
like
at this point in time, Michael Graves was the singer for the Misfits.
yeah,
So
but
I wasn't born. I didn't even
yeah, I
realize there was
wasn't like
two. Did
yeah,
you care? Because I know some Misfits fans absolutely hate the Michael Graves like era
yeah,
with those two albums.
definitely much more Danzig,
Yeah, like most. Yeah.
classic,
Mhm.
and just that just again just the the ability to sing those type of songs in a big room of people, and it just at that time certainly any show you would go to is about getting in the pit, getting
Yeah, and punching
running
somebody in the
around,
fucking face.
jumping up and down, like
Were you a
get
pit? Were you a pit crawler? You were always in the pits.
I was definitely in the pit.
Nah,
I wasn't any sort of champion. I'm not much of a fighter,
nah, yeah.
but definitely would get involved and
That shit's
jump
insane to
around.
me. I've
Yeah.
seen people get knocked out of shows. I'm like, I will sit all the way back here and be good, bro. No
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, I mean there ends up being like a sense of respect, within like nobody
Yeah.
wants to hurt anybody.
hmm
People just want to get their own stuff out. But every once in a while you get,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a real asshole that doesn't get
Somebody got
that doesn't
ejected
get it.
at the show last night.
Really?
I don't know what he was doing, but security swarmed his ass, man. He was just like belligerent.
Yeah.
But so when was so you said Charlie and you pretty much you've had different bands,
Yes.
but you and Charlie always kind of remained as like a duo.
Yeah, so like once Charlie and I started playing, he was just the best person to play with.
Yeah, you guys
Um,
are fantastic. Yeah.
Appreciate
Had the pleasure of seeing the Acid House in concert twice.
it. But yeah, so we yeah, so then for a little bit we were That's Not What You Said Last Night.
That was
as
the
a
name of the
band
group?
name.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and
Nothing
then-
like a long
That's
title,
right,
bro.
exactly. Just you really want to get the fans, just give
Mhm.
them a mouthful. But and then we switched that to the Showdown.
Okay, I like that one.
And then the Showdown morphed into the Acid House.
Wow. All right.
So
What was I gotta know what became the switch. Did you guys do acid and you go, let's call it this, or
a little bit,
okay?
but not fully. I mean, yes and
Yeah.
no, but like, it's just it's just a bit of walking around. There's a T-Rex lyric where it's like, deep in my heart there's a house that can hold just about all of you, and just like again like starting in the basement and everything else.
Yeah.
The like, so the house imagery was good, and then the Stone Roses, also like one of our favorite bands, came out late 80s Manchester, and that scene was acid acid house techno scene and stuff. And there are a lot of interviews where it's like, so, hey, Stone Roses, how do you feel about being Acid House? And like, we're not Acid House. We're not acid. So it was kind of like, okay, we will be.
It's like we'll
take it if you don't,
fuck
whatever.
yeah,
That's
why
cool.
not?
But
Why
like,
not?
yeah, so it was really just the kind of like the house imagery, the T-Rex, Stone Roses, it all kind of fit in.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I was in a couple of bands in high school. They all sucked, and I suck at
throw
playing
out some
guitar.
names though.
You want to hear some of the
I
names?
gotta hear some.
All right,
names.
well, oh man, so the first band this
Right
is
on.
fucking embarrassing.
Love it.
But last episode I talked about shitting myself, so it was called The Alternate List. And the reason, this is so fucking dumb, but me and Jackson didn't make madrigals. So Jackson was like, yeah, we're going to start a punk band. And I was like, all right, fuck it. And Ben Underhill was our drummer. We had like one rehearsal and then like never did anything after that. We like played for like hours in the garage. And then I think Jackson was like, these guys suck. And then he was like, I don't want to be in a band anymore. And then started playing with Spencer and Miles's band, JTT. And then I remember specifically, I was like, oh, we should cover, I don't remember what Green Day song it was, but Jackson was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. That's lame. And then when Jackson guest played with JTT, what did they open with? That same exact song. And I was like, oh, and then me, Mason, and this kid Quinn who you've definitely met before.
Yeah.
He's the fucking worst. Anyway, we were the Wolves of Yellowstone. We had a solid run, and that name was just because our teacher was going to be a wolf study person, and we just thought that was funny. She had like this whole backstory. She was like, I was going to go to Yellowstone Park and study wolves, and I was like, that's
So is that
so dumb.
before Wolf of Wall Street came out? Did you?
It might have been around the same time. I don't know what year. Jamie, can we look that up? What year? I think so. Yeah, actually, now I think about it, probably. Shit.
2016 or 17.
Yeah, and then
Wolf of Wall Street came in like 14 or 15.
I feel like it was probably around that time. Very close, definitely, for sure. And then there's one more, but I'm spacing so hard. Oh, me and Quinn tried to do this thing called Mammoth, and it just never picked up because Quinn's the worst. I hate him. And that was it. I put out an EP, though.
Okay, hell yeah.
A Valentine's Day one for my ex-girlfriend. Sucked.
Right.
Spencer helped me make that. It sucked. I'd love to listen to it, though. If you're out there, that CD that I made. Yeah. I'm all about self-deprecating myself just in case if anybody's doing it behind my back. It's like, well, joke's on you. I already thought that about myself anyway. But yeah, I was never as much as I still want to like play because I play guitar. I'm not very good, but I still want to be like jamming or playing, but I just am very ill-skilled. So it's very off-putting for me when like Miles and the guys are like jamming at the living room and I'm just like put the guitar back, go and get water and just that's me.
Yeah, but
that's what I bring to a band.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But also like, I think that's the fun thing with creating in general, where it's not about it's not about being the best or being great as much as it's like you can always learn something new. And like for me with playing music and guitar and stuff, there's that instant gratification of like when you find the chord you want or you kind of, you get there, it's like it's just right there in front of you. So,
So now you guys were punk oriented and obviously Acid House is not punk at all. What inspired the transition of genres?
Well, like definitely, as we were getting a bit older and more into actual songwriting and putting that together, Stone Roses definitely opened up a lot as far as musical tastes, and Oasis comes into the picture too.
Oasis. Are you an Oasis fan? Do you get shit for it?
Yeah,
I get shit for it.
I get shit for it, but also like, I mean, kind of know people like around here don't know many of their songs and stuff. Like I studied in school, I studied a year in Manchester, and because most of my favorite bands are from there, so it's like when you go to a place like that, and it's like, they definitely get a lot more love, in certain places. So if people don't know, they don't know. That's fine.
Did you go to school for music?
I didn't go to school for music. Okay. I always just kind of did it on the side.
Gotcha. Which is totally valid. I just wasn't sure if you went that route or not. But all right.
Yeah, definitely. Could have been cool, but I also, I didn't really think I needed someone to teach me to be creative. I wish I learned more of the technical stuff, and like, I still try to pick up on that. But, to me, the idea of like trying to, either learn some classical stuff that's not going to apply, or, have some teacher in some, creative songwriting class go, well, that's not that great. Like, I don't need you to tell me that.
I got you. You don't want cymbals being thrown at your head.
That's right. It's, no whiplash from me.
Yeah. Was it ever like, obviously when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, I want to be a rock star. I want to do this. But was it very much just like, I just want this to be my thing, my creative escape. And I know I'm going to have to do other stuff.
I mean, well, I think it's, there's definitely as you grow and everything, it's, I find it important to keep, something for me a bit. You always want the best and success and to do something with it.
Yeah.
But also, I like being helpful. I like being around, and, so it's always playing music especially has always been more about the team and playing with other people than
Gotcha.
you know do all by myself.
Gotcha.
So
All right.
it's a little bit, as I'm sure you guys can get, like between schedules and life and things work out, like
Yeah.
you might want to spend you know 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Mhm.
perfecting and doing stuff, but someone's got to go walk the dog.
Yeah.
Someone, things come in the way.
It is a very good thing, and I think it's kind of healthy for some artists to categorize something like music, songwriting, in that aspect where it's like this isn't live or die. Like this could just be my thing to keep to myself. I always felt like when I was younger, and this is just how I think society has like warped the perception on like music artists. Like if you play music, they're like, oh, what do you want to be like? Fucking U2? You want to be like the biggest thing of all time? It's like, no, I just want to do this thing because of me. And it's always like nice to hear from other people. It's like, no, just do it. Just like, fuck it.
Yeah, well,
But at the end
certainly,
of the day,
yeah,
it's all that
certainly,
matters.
like there's so much that's not in your hands.
Yeah.
So like you can want something, have a goal, but there's that bit of like that's not up to
Mhm.
me or us or whatever. You can put in the work, you can do things. I guess the one thing I always thought was interesting, in the city playing shows and stuff was it was a long period of time where it just felt more competitive.
Yeah.
Like you would end up playing these shows with three other bands that were somewhat similar to your
Mhm.
sound. Everybody brought their 10 friends
Yeah.
or whatever, but you know, nobody wanted your band to be better than them
Yeah.
either. And nobody wanted their friends to like you more or, vice
Which
versa or
is like
anything.
insane because you think about how many bands at the very top are all homies with each
Well,
other.
that's the thing,
Yeah.
and it's usually a scene that brings you up, it's not an individual act.
Yeah.
So that's something that whether going to see comics and stuff and realizing how much comedians can talk about their set and share their
Yeah.
work and do 5 shows a night and running to different things, or watching you guys with the movies, and it's just it's impossible to do any of it alone.
Yeah.
So
No man is an island.
that's it. So I just love the the team aspect of
Mm.
it. And
Now, you said you guys were playing shows in the city. At this point, did you guys have a lot of original songs under your belt, or is it mostly covers?
yeah, we always had originals. We're
Because I know
always
it's hard to push originals when you're just starting out. They
that's
always say.
that it's like we always we had like a few covers that we would that we'd play and have fun with, but like the first Acid House album was really Charlie and I by ourselves in
Mm.
like our basement.
And just the two of you wrote the whole thing together? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Charlie did, a lot of the heavy lifting, his lyrics and stuff, and
Mhm.
we would, play, songs together or just a team, and like I'd come up with an idea, he'd come
Yeah.
up with an idea and just not too precious about it, but like with like You're Mine or something like that, that was like, Charlie played the drums on the first half of the song, I played the drums on the second half of the
Really?
song, Charlie would play the bass, I'd play some guitar.
So even recording the album, it was just the two of you?
For some of that, and then when Connor joined the band, he started playing drums on
Gotcha,
it. So
okay.
like that was kind of recorded over time a bit.
Mhm.
But
So how long would you say was the first album like being worked on?
well, we had some songs that we were recording just in the basement, and then Joe actually belonged to this record club at the time.
Mhm.
I forgot the name of, but they would have like each month they would send out a vinyl record of like an independent band.
Yeah.
So bands could send in their stuff, and if they liked it, they would send it out to their members, but also give you like 100 copies of your
Oh, I
album.
see. All right.
So we sent out the couple songs that we had recorded. They're
Mhm.
like, that's great. Do you have 40 minutes worth of songs? We said, sure. And then went and recorded the rest
Wow.
of it.
So what was the first song that you guys had made off that album? What was the very
Your
first?
Mine
Your
is the
Mind
first one we did. That one was
Good one.
at my parents' house, and like it starts with the crickets in the background.
Yeah.
So that was just a microphone outside
Ah.
recording the crickets. So it was very much like, oh, this would be cool. Like just exploring all of it, which is so
Yeah.
much fun.
Well, I know for those of you dying industry cinephiles out there, My Underground. Actually, perfect segue. So we used My Underground and Scafell. I love that fucking song. That song is so, even though it was only a few years ago, like that's just a different era of my life that will never happen again.
Yep.
And like it's crazy. Me and Miles, first time filmmakers, we're sitting in Miles' living room, and I'm like, we need a song. We need a song. I'm like asking all these people, make a song. And it all fucking suck. Sorry, all my friends out there. You guys are terrible. Terrible. I fire all of you. No, I'm just kidding. But Miles just casually goes, yeah, my cousin Greg has a band. And I'm like, fuck it. Let me hear it. 2 seconds in, I was like, this is it. This is it. And then, anyway, the reason why I bring that up, I was going to the beach last week, or 2 weeks ago, family vacation. And my brother, we don't have a good back and forth. My Underground's playing in his car. And I'm like, how do you know this song? And he goes, I Ben knew about this song. The song's mad old. I go, here he looks at me and like cracks he's like, what? I did not get this song from Scafell. I go, yes, you did. Where else would you have heard this from? He tried to, he literally, and he didn't realize that I know you.
Right.
So he goes, dude, this song, like, I was in like middle school listening to this song. I was like, you fucking liar. I just said, I was like, this song was made for the movie. He goes, no, it wasn't. I go, yes, it was. I know the whole band. And he still tried to jack like he knew the Acid House before I knew the Acid House. You fucking liar.
I love that. But
he can't even, it's so,
yeah,
his
but
ego.
no, but having that in, because that was a bit of, I mean, I gave Miles, every song we had and said, whenever,
It's very generous.
whatever,
Some
like,
people would not do that.
I mean, I love you guys, love supporting
Love
you
you too,
guys. So
man.
anything it can do, but didn't know that was going to be in the credits until we were watching it. And like, I was definitely very moved
And so
by
is,
that. It meant a lot to be part of it, even small amount.
there's 2 songs of your guys that's in the movie, and I can't think of the second one.
Yeah.
Picture yourself on a crowded street. Which one's that?
Yeah.
Picture yourself on a crowded street, right back.
Jimmy's June.
Jimmy's June is in the movie when we go to the lounge scene.
Yeah.
And then there's another. I think we reused like part of My Underground, very tiny, like a transition.
We also used it in the new Ribbon Blue Pigeon.
We did use that. We have used Acid House a lot in our stuff. UFCB's first commercial that's still on their website. Pioneer.
Love
Great
it.
fucking song. My favorite recently, and I'm literally not even just saying this, Blow Smoke and Grass. I listen to both those albums a lot. That feeling is like, I just like that. Yep. I know that feeling.
Yeah, that's.
I know. Where's that from?
So, there's a band, Primal Scream, that has an album, Screamadelica, that uses that clip. So that's part of the reference, but it's actually from the movie Paris, Texas.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a scene in that, which, cut this if it's a legal problem, but we pretty much just looked up the scene on YouTube, put a mic in front of it, and, cleared that sample.
Yeah, don't worry,
And
bro.
then, I'd love to get sued, man. That means somebody heard it.
Exactly.
Put us out.
Put me on there, bro.
That's right. You can have 50% of 0.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Don't worry. Our studio lawyers will back you up.
Thank
bro.
you.
But the first album was released what year? What year is this?
I think that was like 2012. It might have been 2012,
2012.
something like that a while ago.
And what was the reception of that? Were you getting out? What was the plan after the album? It was just like we just made it just to make it. Was there?
Well, again, the album
roadmap?
kind of showed up because that we had the opportunity to get it pressed.
Yeah.
So, we're excited about that, and the goal is always just to create and and have more like the studio is such a different world than playing a live show.
Yeah.
I've always loved playing live and just seeing what new can come out and improving there, but with the studio you can do extra takes, you can put a microphone outside and get some room sound. You can do anything, have stuff there. So I think we really just kind of got into using the studio as a songwriting tool and a creative tool and go, what if we put this together, or we had this guitar sound there, and opened it up. That was part of the plan. And then just we're able to use that to book other gigs, because it's harder to book a show when you don't have anything to send
That
out.
was gonna be my next question. Yeah.
So we would do that. We ended up that the company that put out the album ended up doing a South by Southwest showcase, so they flew us out
sick.
there to play that with a bunch of the other bands that were doing it.
What state?
Austin,
Oh,
Texas.
fuck yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, so that was sick. So
Have
album
you?
got us a hotel room. That
Whoa.
was sick.
What
That's big
hotel?
money.
What hotel was it?
It's probably like a
Was there
holiday,
a Holiday
a
Inn?
holiday
Continental
out or something.
breakfast, or-
Like a no red roof in or
Damn.
something.
All right.
But no, it's pretty decent. I think it had a gym and some muffins.
Oh shit! All right.
So
That's
no
all.
complaints.
Honestly, it's all it takes for me. If a hotel's got muffins in the morning, I'm
That's
there. I'm fucking there. That's what's up. Continental breakfast. All a
That's it.
continental breakfast is just bread.
Yeah, I want an island breakfast.
Yeah.
Like
I'd rather have fresh fruits.
know.
Continental bread, muffins, bread, scones, bread, donuts, bread, waffles, I mean, obviously, I enjoy continental breakfast.
Pancakes and waffles.
Oh, anything that's hot. Oh,
Pretty sure
continental is just like. So all continental is just different types of pastries, then.
Cereal. Fruit.
But that wouldn't make it continental.
Think about. Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting way too involved.
No, I'm in.
Think about Key and Peele's continental breakfast, all the things he's eating.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Not a spoon, not a fork, a fapoon. It's a good sketch. If you haven't watched Key and Peele, small underground comedy. No, I'm just kidding. So there was a bit of a studio gap between the two albums. Was the second album ever a goal? I know you guys just made it just to make it in regards to the first one.
Yeah.
What was the second one?
I mean, well, the second one, by that time, like the Northern Soul has like 14 songs on it. It's kind of a long one. So like that, by that time, we had been writing
on the way back home. Sorry.
No worries. But we've been writing, a bunch. And again, it was one of those, we're playing these shows, we're doing things. Shows are, a bit fleeting. And,
Yeah.
And it was like, let's get back in the incubator. Let's get creative. Let's see like what these songs have. Some of them we improved after we recorded them, and like we'd love to go back and do it differently, like. But
that's always gonna be the case though with even with us. Like we make something, put it out, and go, we could have done it so much better.
Yep.
Was I know you mentioned like going on walks or just being out in the world, taking in stuff creatively, which I think is something I don't do enough because I prefer being in the studio, in the office, or whatever. But for you and Charlie as songwriters, where would you say? You said being in the studio definitely was more of a home base for you to come up with ideas.
Well, definitely a place to expand on it or have the conversation. Like Charlie, Charlie was working at restaurants and stuff, and I had, my day job, and so we would, do our own thing independently. And then, Charlie might, when he got back from work at night or something, might be like, oh, I had this idea, check this out, and then maybe I would kind of marinate on it during the day. It's like, I was thinking about that thing you said, and, or that way you played that, and so it kind of through communication. But I'd also say, there are times where, as we both got better in our own stuff, Charlie would just be like, here's a tune I've been working on, what do you think? What do you want to add to it? It's like, oh, but there would be a lot of like, fully formed things.
Gotcha.
Or like I would come up with, an idea and be like, I guess
So
part
here,
of the
fix
acid
this for
house
me.
thing is where the things will meet and mix.
Yeah.
But, also there were plenty of ideas that were just, existed, and it was like, you can paint on top of it if you'd like.
And sometimes I found, as a fellow creative, but not as a musician, obviously, you put an idea out and it can like be danced around with for a little bit, and then it gets moved to the back of the line, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, this thing. So were there any like either riffs or song or lyrics that were just like, nah, we're not going to use that, and then it just comes full circle, and now it's like now we're here, we're using it.
Yeah, I'd say like, especially with some of the bits that get stuck in your head, those kind of go in and out. A lot of on those Acid House songs,
Mm,
a lot of the ones that are longer, like 4 or 5, 6 minutes, probably came from two songs that were in the same key,
gotcha.
and it was like, well, I keep on stepping on
Yeah.
this idea with this idea, so maybe it's best to like cut out some of the fat and
Trim it down.
make it one big thing, like like a song like Pioneers that has that ending that kind of has nothing to do with the beginning,
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
But
or
it does, like, it just
but
works.
yeah.
Yeah.
S-
And it seems like you and Charlie have a good. You guys collaborate super well. Were there any times you guys ever had disagreements on stuff, or is very?
um yeah.
I mean, who doesn't have
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you
disagreements as
definitely,
artists?
definitely have disagreements, definitely have, you know,
It felt
you
like
know,
what I mean is like what you're saying. Nothing ever felt like super No, this is my thing. Like it was very much
yeah,
like, what do
yeah,
you think?
I mean, I think, anything can get personal when you care,
Hmm.
but, I think that there's just a level, you know, respect and then some,
Yeah.
brotherhood or whatever it is. Like, again, I've known him since first grade,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know,
Yeah. You've probably seen
that,
him pee his
it's
pants
nothing,
before.
yeah,
You know.
but like nothing's going to, you know, steer away from that goal of like, we're
Hmm.
two friends just hanging out and this is what we're always going to do.
What inspired the second album's title?
Northern Soul.
Yeah.
Again, you're kind of going back to England and
Hmm.
Manchester and that, part of in the late 70s and stuff when like the guys from the Stone Roses and Happy Mondays were all growing up
Hmm.
in Manchester. There was a scene called Northern Soul,
Yeah.
which they took a lot of like Motown out like singles and records. So any Motown song that we know that's famous
Yeah.
went through their factory approval process where they would literally get people from the car factories to come in, listen to the song. If 20, if the majority or 20 of them didn't like it, they would toss out the song.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so those are perfect songs that were made, on a tangent.
Yeah.
Like there's not one song where like the chorus won't hit after like 15 to 30 seconds. Everything it's very formulaic and very factory. Like it was inspired by, somebody only puts bumpers on a car. Somebody only does it, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of how
Wow.
that
Okay.
process was. So they had all these singles that they never sold and never did anything with because it
Mm.
didn't pass the test.
Yeah.
So there was like some year in the mid 70s or whatever where Motown just, flooded the north of England with all these records and, songs that nobody, that never worked and they didn't
Yeah.
need anymore. So they would have all these like dance parties and stuff that were called Northern Soul Nights
Wow.
that, then that, kind of inspired people as far as like getting into those type of beats and those fun songs and,
Yeah.
you know, like kind of uplifting party music.
Gotcha.
So it was, the Acid House, Northern Soul. There are a lot of references, a lot of,
Yeah.
it's fun for us, but also it doesn't help if you're like looking it up on the internet, and you don't find anything,
Yeah.
find like an Irving Welsh book or whatever instead.
You
But
know what? I feel like I don't put any effort into things that I name. Like now, I have to just think way more when I come up with titles. I'll be like, "Yo, I just wrote this short. What's it called? Short sleeve shirt." I'm like, "What do you think it's about?" Fuck, I'm not good
yeah,
enough.
well, to be fair, I've been, with some of the Mickey Green stuff that I've been working on, been
Yes.
playing with some people, and like I don't need to call the song anything because I'm
Yeah.
talking to myself. I'm playing but like I've been playing with other people to play it out more and like, I call the song one thing one day, something else another day. Is like maybe it's a line from the song, maybe
Mm.
it's not, maybe it's one I thought was what it was called.
Yeah.
So, the sometimes it's just what ends up sticking as far as the title, but when some of those, you know thoughts come in or it makes sense, it definitely hits a different way.
And finally, because it's like putting a nice label on a junk drawer in the house or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, now I know this thing.
That's right.
So, as an artist, there's always one or two things I've put out that I absolutely am repulsed by, and there's some things that I'm like, this is beautiful. So in regards to, and I want to talk about your solo stuff next, but I guess this would be my final question in regards to the Acid House albums.
Shoot away.
Do you have a song that you fucking hate, and you have a song that's your favorite?
When it comes to the Acid House, don't really have a song I hate.
Okay.
I would say the recording of what's the song called? Like not House of the Dead, but whatever.
You're living in the house of a dead.
Yeah, so like that
Yeah.
one, we always played that song so much better than that recording. Yeah, so like that would be one that like when that recording comes on, I'm a bit like I
Really?
can hear just because like whatever it is, I just I love the song, but that's one that I would jump
Okay.
in tomorrow and be like, let's do it differently.
Remaster it.
As far as favorite, I would say both Underground and Your Mind, as far as recording process, were very special.
Yeah.
Your Mind was the first thing that Charlie and I really tried to do together. We did it all by ourselves, and it was just we have backward sounds in there, we're just playing like no like similar like to what
Yeah.
you're saying with not knowing what we didn't know we were doing it wrong if we were we had no
Gotcha.
rules.
Mhm.
So that was great.
There
And
are
then
no rules.
and then in Underground, that's when we first moved to Bushwick. We had a duplex there that we had a basement that we could play in
Nice.
also. So that was like the first thing we recorded in Bushwick.
Mm.
And again, it was like we had this half a song. Like the Stone Roses have these long jams at the end and these cool things. It's like, let's do one of those. So that was all made up on like kind of on the spot.
Really?
So that whole second part was like, oh, that's sick. Let's do more. And so it was just like throwing, paint, on the canvas again. Like
the riff of that, like the whole jam section of my Underground is so like, it's embedded in my fucking brain, dude. But I always am like, damn, they're just fucking going crazy in there.
Yeah.
Like you could just really like, and even getting to hear some of it live, I'm just like blown away. I'm like, damn, I can't do any of that shit.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. That's
Yeah.
interesting that House of the Dead is your least favorite.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Ghost Train
Yeah.
is my jam.
I do love Ghost Train. I think that's a great one.
I've told you my Ghost Train story. I didn't tell you. I don't know if I told you this. I had to like go shit in the woods. I was driving to work and I was listening to Ghost Train. I had to pull over on the side of the highway, run into the woods because I couldn't make it to work. And yeah, I was literally just singing that while I was just like taking a shit in the woods because I could hear it from my car. Yeah.
That's great.
Great fucking song.
Yeah, but I do love that. And then I guess the only real like standout recording song I can, story with recording with Charlie and all that was with New York City, which is, that kind of like a softer, cool song. But that was
they did a cover of that song and I never knew where it came from. And then when I finally figured it out, I was like, oh.
Yeah. But that was during Hurricane Sandy.
Okay.
Charlie and I were at the apartment. Just had some drinks.
Has Charlie been to London and France?
Yep.
Okay, I was just checking. I didn't want him to be. I'm really hoping he wasn't lying.
Yeah, when I was studying in Manchester, he was studying in London,
good,
so we would like take the train or the bus and meet each other.
Okay,
We're never that far away.
Just want to make sure he wasn't fucking lying to me.
No. Charlie's not a liar.
Good.
But yeah, so it was Hurricane Sandy, and we kind of were sitting around waiting to see if the city was gonna fall down or whatever was gonna happen, and we just wrote and recorded that song in that night. Just came up out of nowhere, and it was just the thing to do. And the only thing that ended up happening, where we were during Sandy, is that the internet went out. Yeah. So we kind of were just hanging out, working on this song, thinking, oh, well, it was a bit of a bust of a storm, but, whatever. And then like the next day, it's like city's flooded, trains aren't running. And it's like, oh, we missed all of that. You know, I mean, that did not exist for me. I was like, this was such a waste. And it's like, Jersey Shore is never going to be the same. Like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Damn. What year was Sandy? That was
2011.
It's something like that, probably. Yeah.
we got.
Yeah. So, probably 2012.
What
Yeah.
storm? What? It wasn't Hurricane Irene was bad up here because this giant bridge by my house completely just like fell, and it like dragged over by Butterhill.
No,
I don't know what that road is.
wait.
It's like you can connect to get to 9W from.
Yeah, Mill Street. It's like off. It's like close to Mill Street and stuff. Or
Is there a Mill Street in New Windsor?
I guess it's further in New Windsor. I'm thinking of the one, but it by Ducktown actually.
Not that one.
Yeah.
No,
one
that
was
collapsed
closed for a
too.
long-ass time.
This bridge literally fell completely straight, and like it dragged like half the fucking mountain with it. It was insane, and it was closed down for the longest time. Hurricane Sandy. Most people board their windows and buy groceries. You and Charlie wrote one of the greatest fucking songs of all time. So casual. All right, let's forget about Charlie for a hot. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about your solo stuff. Was it on recording when we talked about where your Mickey Green
Mickey
off
Green.
track came from?
No,
right?
I don't think so, but
I'm
don't know.
gonna reask you that question so it
Okay.
could be in the episode. What inspired your solo artist name? Why not go by Greg Linksman
yeah, well,
or G Links
yeah, you
or
know,
DJ Joe Links?
DJOE.
That
But,
fucking guy. No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
but yeah, I mean, I guess there's something a little fun about hiding behind a name and
Mhm.
Giving a title to a project.
Mhm.
So that was part of it. But Mickey Green was a name my grandfather would use, when he was placing bets and stuff for other people, and so I always liked that name. I wear my my green hat
Yeah.
during the winter and stuff, so as a color that works for me. And then so I was just kind of Mickey Green's off track. It's a bit of felt like I was going off the rails a little bit. I
Yeah.
was kind of getting a bit lost, and it was during the pandemic, and everyone kind of spread away. The acid house wasn't doing anything. I was
Yeah.
going a little nuts, and so between the the kind of like the Mickey Green name and the betting part of it, and like off track betting and
Yeah.
all of that, and just kind of became a good persona
Mm.
to use.
Nice.
But I answer to Greg, answer to Mickey. I it's all good.
Gotcha.
But
I remember when your Instagram got hacked.
Yep.
And it was like the person who hacked it was messaging me. I was like, why is Greg asking what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, he probably got hacked. And I
Yeah.
was so pissed.
Yeah.
How are they gonna do that to you?
Yeah, that was, it's funny because like I don't have tons of followers or anything
Yeah.
else, but it was like just pictures of my art or like
They must have really
some
liked
stuff
your name. And
that
they were like, give me that.
But like they, I just got hacked, and it's just crazy when like it's going through everybody that you've ever met before, asking weird stuff, and like just how quickly your personal space can be invaded on
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, well, just delete all that, forget,
Mhm.
like you think, oh, you have X amount of gigs of data and you can do all this terabytes worth of stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
And
now it's
there
gone.
it goes. Like I've had computers crash, lost years worth of recordings and stuff, and without
been there.
backup, and it's like
The fucking worst. I've been there. I just recently, this was maybe back in the spring or early summer, I accidentally destroyed a hard drive that had some footage on it. I thought I could, never mind, not important. So during the pandemic is where you decided to take music more on a solo act.
Yeah, so I was, a bit out of necessity, and not being able to play with other people. I started focusing more on, just writing and I never really sang before the pandemic.
Mm.
So I just started practicing a bit of, writing and singing, and building up that confidence.
And had you written lyrics before? Or?
I had written some,
Okay.
but like, wasn't I was always just so into music and
Yeah.
like playing those guitar parts that you can have one line and repeat it. Like
Yeah.
it was a bit it took me a minute to get, to feel comfortable with that. And, kind of going back to that Motown thing also, I was just found I had a lot of these ideas that were incomplete,
Mm-hmm.
and they would just frustrate me, bug me.
Yeah.
And then, so instead of making the 5-6 minute song with combining the things, I can make, 2-3, minute and a half, 2 minute songs, get back to a bit of that punk rock roots, a bit of that Motown, and just be like, this is what it
Mhm.
is, and, then next thing you know, you have, 10, 15 songs instead of, 5 half ideas.
Yeah.
So, and then,
That must have been kind of. Did it feel like you were kind of rediscovering like this the same old grind, or like it just
well,
was it a struggle at first?
I mean, well, it definitely a struggle and definitely could be lonely. It's like I said, I got into music to share that language with other
Yeah.
people. At the same time, I also started painting.
Nice.
And just, so it was, wanting to get back to that gratification and just like using my brain and creating and,
Yeah.
you know, building something. So, um, it's it it definitely felt like, it was strange, being by myself, but also, forced me to think about things in a different way and
Gotcha.
build up, that kind of confidence and just saying like there's you know,
Yeah. Fuck it. Just go for it.
I'm the only one telling me no right now.
Exactly. Which a lot of artists struggle with,
Yeah.
either when it's putting something out or getting something out of the brain and onto the page.
Yeah.
I just started drawing again,
Sick.
which is exciting. I'm taking my uber time. Like I am going so slow now because of all the other previous like failed attempts at like trying to get back into drawing. And I bought a sketchbook, bought a whole new set of like drawing pencils and an eraser and a little pencil sharpener. And my girlfriend was like, because she's seen me time and time again, be like, I'm gonna get back into drawing. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna really do it this time. So far, so good. I've drawn 2 things.
And what's like your go-to thing to start
I
drawing?
I like to sketch like either landscapes are always fun to sketch. I actually have a drawing like in the other room
Sick.
that I made for my grandmother, and she was like, "Oh, it's so pretty. I'll hang it on the wall." Anyway, it's never been hung on that wall, which means it sucks. But characters, or sometimes I like to draw like really like like just obscure things, like But right now, the second my 8th time of getting back into drawing, I've been taking our company logo, like our monster,
Right.
and just trying to make like scenes that he would be in, because I've always wanted to do a comic book.
Right.
Like that's always been something I've always wanted to try to like take a stab at. And I've had 2 characters my whole early childhood to now that I've always like kept like, yeah, one day I'm gonna do this thing. But now having our monster camera thing, which we don't even have a name for yet, um, I don't know. I think our logo, fucking shout out to Gabe for making it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna do stuff with this because it's so simple. You can put it like anywhere.
Totally.
But I drew him eating a bus that had a bunch of like Hollywood executives on it,
That's awesome.
and the Hollywood sign was burning. So punk, dude.
That's
The
right.
H was all chewed up, dude. So when was your first solo performance?
First performance by myself must have been, 2021 or
Mhm.
something. Adam was playing a
At the
show like
Yeah, at the dog one.
no, it was actually like upstate somewhere at
Okay.
this like place called Frank's Cabaret or something. It was kind of closer to like Liberty or Woodstock or
Okay.
that kind of area. But he was playing, or like Stephen Clare or somebody, I think they were all up there playing, and kind of was like, hey, if you want to grab my guitar and play a couple
Yeah.
songs, while we're taking a break, try it out.
How was
And
that? How did that feel for you?
oh, it felt great. It was, a little strange, being by myself and, again, playing by myself. I'm not doing riffs or looking
Mhm.
for, melodies as much as I'm trying to, play the chords and sing on key.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a great experience. I still love playing shows in any capacity, and from there I was able to jump onto Dogwood a few times, and
Rest in peace.
that's right. But yeah, and then uh, as the city started to open up again a bit more, some of my friends like from the Bushwick days started playing more gigs around the city and finding a bit of that singer-songwriter thing where you don't need to bring the drum sets and everything else. You can kind of, it allows you to play more with other people, and so it started building up that way.
The singer-songwriter act, as opposed to, like you had mentioned earlier, the band aspect was very competitive. Have you found that to be the same as the singer-songwriter?
Well, and again, I don't know if it's just because like everything's kind of changed a little bit, but I find that it's a lot less competitive and a lot more like, people also looking for other people to join in with and stuff. So
I was gonna say that seems like, my perspective as an enjoyer of music. Like, there's not really a lot of local bands now. It's mainly solo acts.
Yeah, I'd
Which
say
years ago was the opposite.
yeah, I'd say, I mean, especially like with what some people can do with computers and loopers and everything else. Like, I think a lot people can get a lot farther by themselves. And certainly being in a band, even just finding a place to practice or anything else, it's a pain in the ass compared to, just being able to do something wherever. But, I think that things come in waves, and I think you're, definitely seeing some, cooler bands out there and some underground stuff. And, I know like Decent Colors in town and stuff. They're dope.
Yeah.
They're
okay. Cortez sucks. I've known the Cortez brothers for years, like longer than I've known Carlo.
Yeah.
And I always am just like, I'm their biggest hate, especially Lols. Shout out to Lols and Sammy. Shout out to Sammy. But like Danny and Vitos, I don't like. I'm like, yo, you guys are the best. But those two fucking suck.
So it's good to see, some, bands out there doing their thing. And, I think it's just do what you can with what you got.
Absolutely.
In every scenario.
Absolutely. I was going to ask what's your advice, but you pretty much just said it. Do what you can, what you got. I mean, sometimes the quick and summed up answer is all you fucking need,
Good, because I don't got anything else.
Good.
That's it.
He said, my advice is that, and if you're an adult who enjoys soccer and you live in the Beacon, Newburgh area, and here's a place you could play.
Yeah, you can walk me through again.
You can't fuck this up, Greg. You can't. Here's the rules of Ball and What Cost. It's time for Ball and What Cost. So here's the rules of Ball and What Cost. I'm going to list 3 items, and all you have to do is list them from least expensive to most expensive. That's it. So our 3 items today.
Am I allowed to ask probing questions about it? Like
you can ask a couple.
Like Price is Right. The price of the car can change whether or not like it has a certain type of stereo in it. Like sometimes they try to trick you with that.
I got you.
As
We're not going to do that.
Price is Right fan, I just want to know where the rules stand.
Gotcha. No, I get you. That's valid. So everything that we pulled off of here, well, Spencer did, is the current going price of these items that we have researched. Sometimes we use Amazon, Facebook, eBay as our price listing thing. I'm not sure where these 3 prices came from. That's a Spencer question. All right, so we have 3 items. We have a one-way flight ticket to Manchester from JFK.
Okay.
We have Rancid's first album on vinyl. Spencer couldn't even write the name of the album there. I know. I was trying to... No. Never mind. Dickhead. And a Schecter Omen Extreme 6-string in red. So 3 items. Rancid on vinyl, one-way flight to Manchester from JFK, and a Schecter Omen Extreme 6-string guitar in red.
Okay. So I'm going to say, much love to Rancid. I'm guessing that vinyl is the cheapest.
All right.
The lowest one. Flight to Manchester, one way, can usually go somewhere between like 175 to 250, I would say.
That's such a specific range.
I would
He
say
knows.
I would say like that's probably,
Okay.
close to. So I would say it's Rancid, Flight, then Guitar.
All right, is that your final answer?
I think so.
That's correct.
That's sick.
Hell yeah, Greg. Great job. Rancid.
I don't need
on
to
vinyl.
win, but I hate to fucking lose.
No,
man.
I get you. I hear you. I hear you, bro. I'm the same way. You should have seen me at the fucking boardwalk on. What is with that? You win a prize and it's a small prize, and if you want the jumbo one, you got to keep playing. Anyway,
Yeah.
fuck. Rancid's first album, $21.80. The Schecter Omen Extreme. Sorry, that was the most expensive. The Schecter.
Okay, so
The Manchester Flight was $257.
off by seven.
Off by
but
$7.
Didn't go over, so
but
still
didn't go
within
over.
Price is Right.
Absolutely.
Who counts taxes? What fucking asshole?
Yeah, no, fucking.
Jeez.
This guy probably does.
Man.
And then the Schecter was $500.
Sick.
$499.00.
Love
Great
it.
job. As we close this out, do you have any shows coming up? Do you have any new music that you want to release? Have you released an EP or anything under Mickey?
I recorded 4 songs, as Mickey. So I'm looking to figure out what to do with that, but I kind of want to, source some cool artwork or make something with it, kind of do it like single style and not really
Gotcha.
worry about like an album. But so I want to do that and then start working on, recording more. But I got a good pile of songs there. I'm playing a draft in Beacon on August 13th and playing at Quinn's on August 18th. So depending on when this is, those shows were great.
Yeah.
Hopefully
this will be well. Wait, actually, I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
it went well. But yeah, so excited for that, and looking to create more. I want to do things. I've been, I want to do like a video for some of this stuff.
That'd be
So
cool.
if you guys know anybody that knows how to work a camera,
I don't.
that'd be sick.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm happy to be around Beacon, Newburgh area now. I think it's just so many more creatives that are positive and willing to do something.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so great seeing, everything that you guys have built so far.
Thank you.
From nothing to,
It's a little
multiple
bit.
studios and multiple people's houses,
Yeah.
it's sick,
One day we'll move out of somebody's living room.
Yeah, but
We'll be in his by next year, probably.
Well, maybe you'll set up a spot in the basement
There
at the
we
new
go.
place.
We'll start a new collaborative collective.
That's right.
That will last 2 weeks because I'll be like, fuck this, I want my own thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, life's good, and gonna keep on creating and doing more
yeah.
shit.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, man. I mean, that's all we could really ask for, is that we are blessed with the time and the ability to get to be creative when we can.
That's right.
And that's something I realize each and every day. And I'm very thankful to have this team. Very thankful to know you, obviously, your music, and
Feel
just
the
you as a
same.
person. It's like talking to an older brother, Joe, can't say the same. I'm just kidding.
No.
I always
Joe's the
I do,
best.
but when
Joe's
I'm
absolutely the
when I'm
best.
hanging out with Joe, I'll do that towards you. I'll be like, oh, Greg's the worst.
Of course.
You got to play the brother side. That's how
That's
you
right.
do it. We're gonna have
That's
Joe
right.
on in a few weeks, probably, or maybe when that city tournament comes up. Anyway, you should see how I am with Spencer and his brother. But Miles and Billy, I'm always like, Miles is the worst. I'll say it to him. Billy's way better. Billy's cool.
You wonder why he doesn't have any friends.
What do you mean? I have friends. You got to
Right.
take the.
I'm saying you said that.
Right.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, who's the? Are you old? You're younger or older?
I'm younger.
See, younger brother coalition.
That's right. I'm the middle guy.
Oh, you're
So
in the middle.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I got Joe's older and my sister's
The oldest? Oh, you're younger? Okay.
Yeah,
See, it's
so-
like the younger brother coalition. So
Yeah.
me and Billy understand it.
That's right.
You get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sonny gets it.
That's right.
Even though you have 2 older brothers, so technically that makes you a little brother too. But you're a middle child. You sick fuck. Get lost. One last question for you, Chief, and before we get to the mystery box, any advice to the young artists out there, whether they be in a garage or in their school band, to the young people in evil hair? How do we keep going? How do we do this? How do we do these things?
I think the number one thing I would say is that nobody knows what they're doing. So don't let that, that question of how to do it stop you or stunt you.
Mm.
If anything, you'll learn more by failing than, than knowing what you're doing. And just try to create, if you get stuck, you know, writing, try to paint or draw. If you get stuck, drawing, go for a walk and think of something, but just keep your brain moving. You know, it's creativity, something that doesn't leave you, and it's, applicable to anywhere in life. Even if you're, working a day job or anything else, you'll find that, you'll think of some creative solution to, that no boss is going to tell you how to do or anything else.
yeah.
And so just keep your brain active and surround yourself with good people, and shit on your friends if you have to.
Oh, I got one of those things done. All right. That's very well said. All right, Greg. Every guest on this show has a chance to walk away with something cool.
Okay.
Or not. We don't know. It's in the mystery box. Or you get $20. So we go mystery box or $20.
I gotta go. What's in the box?
What's in the
box?
The mystery box is undefeated.
What's in
the mystery box is undefeated. It's a random item that we just randomly grabbed. So if you don't like it, you're stuck with it.
I love it. Yes, sir.
There you go.
Love it.
It's a DVD of Goodfellas. It was just chilling in here, and we were like, let's put it in the mystery box.
That's right. No Skate Fellas, but decent.
One day, Skate Fellas. Well, I want to do a sequel.
If Skate Fellas was just in there.
We'll do a sequel one day.
Absolutely.
30 years from now, when I'm a big top network executive in my mind, there'll be a sequel. All right, Greg. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you everybody that listened and stayed to the end. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out all of Greg's music at...
you can check out The Acid House, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you check that. Mickey Green, I'll let you guys know, but Mickey Green's Off Track on Instagram, or type in Greg Linksman, you'll find it. It's the guy in the green hat. And yeah, if anyone's got any places where they want me to play, I'm taking applications.
He's available. I'm telling you guys, book him. He's a solid performer, and just it's a fun time. Anytime you get to hear this dude tickle the strings. Yeah, I just said that. Anyway, Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show. Best of luck with everything. I'm very excited to see the solo stuff. Seriously, I know you're already a talented motherfucker, so whatever comes next is not going to be a shock to me. That's going to be that good. And if you haven't listened to those 2 albums from the Acid House, do it. It's fucking banger after banger. I guess besides House of the Dead, according to him.
But still a sick song.
Still a sick song.
Re-record it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Spence. Thank you, air conditioner. Get home safe, America. And cut.
Sick?
What? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at Greg.
What?
Yeah.